I used to think affairs hit like a car crash. Sudden. Loud. Catastrophic. But no. They creep in like a draft under a door, soft, quiet, something you don't notice until the whole damn room feels colder. The first sign was perfume. Not the kind I bought her. Not the one that sat untouched on her dresser for years. This one was different, sharper, sweeter, with the kind of afterscent that didn't belong to me. The kind that clung to her like a memory someone else had made. She brought it home after a work trip to Kiev. Just 2 days, some marketing conference in a fancy hotel, slideshows, speeches, buffet lines with name tags. Nothing unusual. I stayed home, did the laundry, fixed the back gate that kept sticking. When she walked in, she kissed me on the cheek and said, "Missed you." But the scent said otherwise. "New perfume?" I asked casually. She didn't flinch. Just smiled and said, "Yeah. Sample from the conference bag. You like it?" I nodded. But something in my gut tightened. The second sign was her phone. Before, she used to leave it anywhere, on the kitchen counter, in the bathroom, under a pillow, in the fridge once. Now it was always with her. Clutched like a secret. She even started taking it into the shower. One night, I heard it buzz at 2:14 a.m. She reached for it in the dark like a soldier going for a gun. "I thought that was off," I muttered. "Spam," she said, turning away from me. "Right. Third sign?" Her voice. It started going flat. Less warmth, fewer questions. Like she was performing marriage in bullet points. Work was fine. Traffic sucked. "I'm tired." I got the same tone she used with call center reps. She'd come home later and later. Meetings ran long. Grabbed drinks with the girls. Always the girls. I never met those girls. And then there was the number. A notification flashed while she was cooking. I glanced. Just a number. No name. Then, poof, the message vanished. She noticed me glance and casually turned the screen over. Smooth. Practiced. I didn't ask. Not then. Not because I was afraid. But because when you ask a question like that, your life splits in two, the before and the after. I wasn't ready for the after. Not yet. That night, she brought home a bottle of red wine. Cabernet. The kind she hadn't touched since college. "You in a mood?" I asked. She smiled, wide, a little too loose. "Just felt like doing something nice for us." She poured 2 glasses. Only drank hers. I watched her laugh at a show she wasn't watching. And all I could think was, I know that laugh. But not who she's laughing with in her head. She was there. In our kitchen. Barefoot, sipping wine, hair still up from work. But she wasn't with me. And that was the beginning. Not the night she left. Not the night I found the messages. No. It started here, with new perfume, a silenced phone, and a bottle of wine for 2 that only she drank. They say silence has a sound. I never understood that until those weeks after Kiev. It wasn't that she stopped talking. No. She still spoke, asked if I wanted coffee, told me there were leftovers, reminded me to take out the trash. But the silence was in everything around the words. She used to tell me dumb things, about people at work, the weird guy on the train, what color she was thinking of painting the hallway. We never painted it. Now she just reported in. Like we were coworkers sharing a rental. One night I asked, "How was your day?" She said, "Busy." That was it. Busy. I asked, "With what?" She paused. Looked at her phone. Nothing worth talking about. Funny thing is, that's exactly when I wanted her to talk. About anything. Even the boring stuff. Because boring stuff meant we were still on the same planet. Instead, she looked through me. The bed started feeling bigger. She curled up on one side like I was contagious. No more accidental knees brushing. No late night. "Hey, you awake?" moments. Just a pillow fortress between us and a silence that grew teeth. I'd lie there some nights and listen to her breathing. Not in a creepy way, just in a still trying to convince myself we're okay way. But even her breathing had changed. Shallower. Lighter. Like she didn't want to take up space. And her phone? Now it buzzed with silent notifications. No chimes. No ringtones. Just a glow. Always flipped screen down. And the passcode? Changed. One morning, while she was in the shower, I reached for her phone out of instinct, not to snoop, just force of habit. It asked for Face ID. I held it up. Nothing. It didn't recognize me anymore. I put it down and sat there for a long time, staring at the steam rising under the bathroom door. She came out, wrapped in a towel, humming something. I said nothing. Just smiled. She smiled back. But that smile, man, it wasn't the one I knew. It was the kind people use when they don't want questions. Later that week, she said she had to head out of town again. Another overnight for work. Different city this time. Lviv. She said it like she was ordering groceries. No details. No. Should I bring you back something? Just, I'll be gone Tuesday. Back Wednesday night. I nodded. She didn't ask if that was okay. I offered to drive her to the train. She declined. Said the company was handling it. That night, I sat at the kitchen table, scrolling through old photos of us. She looked happy in those. I probably did too. But the version of her that lived in this house now? She was somewhere else, maybe across the city, maybe just behind that new lock screen. I didn't know where she went. But I knew I wasn't going with her. And the strange part? She didn't even notice I'd stopped following. She left on a Tuesday morning. Said she had to catch the 6:45 a.m. train. Didn't wake me to say goodbye. I heard the door click shut and the lock slide into place, not loud, but final. I got up, wandered into the kitchen, and made coffee like it was any other day. But it wasn't. Her toothbrush was still damp. Her favorite mug was left in the sink half-rinsed. The scent of that goddamn perfume still lingered in the air, clinging to the walls like it wanted to stay longer than she did. I opened the fridge and stared at the half-empty shelves. It hit me then, she didn't leave anything ready. No note, no post-it reminders. Not even milk for my coffee. She used to care about stuff like that. I spent the day working from home, trying to focus on spreadsheets that meant nothing, numbers that wouldn't stop swimming in my vision. Around 4 p.m., her laptop pinged in the other room. I froze. She'd forgotten to close it. It sat on the dining table, half open, humming quietly. Tempting. Now let me be clear, I never used to check her stuff. I believed in privacy. But trust isn't just about what you give someone. It's also about what they do when they think you won't look. I opened the screen. Login screen. New password. I guessed the old one first. Our dog's name and the year we got married. Nope. Tried her birthday. Nope. Tried mine. Also nope. 3 strikes. Locked out. The machine blinked back at me with cold indifference, and I sat there staring at my reflection in the black screen. I didn't feel angry. Not really. Just tired. That evening I got a text. Train got delayed. Don't wait up. Love you? Love you? 2 words that used to mean something. Now they felt like an auto-reply. I replied, all good. Get some rest. And then, out of pure habit or madness, I checked our shared iPad. She hadn't logged out. I opened messages. Nothing. Instagram? Standard. But then iCloud. She'd synced photos. Probably by accident. I clicked. And there it was. One image. Just one. Not racy. Not explicit. Not even obviously romantic. But damning in its own quiet way. It was a shot of a hotel breakfast tray for two. Fresh orange juice, croissants, half a grapefruit, 2 coffees. And a hand, a man's, reaching into the frame. Not mine. Different ring. Different watch. I stared at it like it might explain itself. It didn't. That's the thing about cheating. It's never loud at first. It's always breadcrumbs. Small, stupid breadcrumbs. But when you start following them, you end up in places you never thought you'd be. And I was already on that path, one breadcrumb at a time. I didn't confront her when she came home. Didn't storm into the hallway and wave the photo in her face. Didn't shout. Didn't cry. I asked if she had a nice trip. She smiled and said, exhausting but productive. Then kissed me like someone clocking out of a job they hate. Routine. Barely there. I nodded, took her suitcase from the hallway, and placed it by the stairs like a good husband. The one I used to be. That night, while she was in the shower, I checked the suitcase. Not because I was looking for proof, I already had that, but because I was curious. I wanted to see what she thought she could hide in plain sight. She'd removed the luggage tag. No hotel receipts. No itinerary. But she'd missed something, a folded-up room service bill shoved into an inside pocket. Room 415. Premier Kiev Hotel. 2 entrees. 1 glass of wine. 1 old-fashioned. Timestamped for the same evening she said she was crashing early. Not exactly a smoking gun, more like a trail of ash. I took a picture. Filed it away. At this point I had a folder on my desktop labeled House Projects. Inside screenshots, photos, timestamps. It was becoming less of a suspicion and more of a case file. Now, I wasn't plotting revenge. Not yet. But I was done pretending I didn't see the smoke while the house caught fire. Over the next few days, I paid attention differently. She stopped asking how my day was. Stopped laughing at my dumb jokes. Started wearing lipstick too. Quick runs to the store. And then, like fate just wanted to twist a knife, her phone lit up one night while she was in the bathroom. A message preview. Just 1 line. I miss the way you taste. No name. No context. Just that. She came out of the bathroom a minute later, towel on her head, humming something. I looked up from the couch and asked, "Who's texting this late?" She blinked. "Just Carla from the team. We're prepping a Q3 report." I nodded. "Tell Carla she's got a weird way of writing emails." Her face twitched. Just slightly. Then she smiled, too fast. "What?" "Nothing," I said. "Forget it." I went to bed early that night. Late in the dark, eyes open, listening to the hum of the ceiling fan and the silence between us. She slid in beside me. Rolled away. And that's when I decided, I'm done guessing. So I reached out to an old friend, Eli. Eli's the kind of guy who knows how to find things. IT security. Quiet jobs. The type of person you call when you want answers, not drama. I told him I needed help. He didn't ask why. The next morning, he sent me a link. Remote sync. Data mirror. Access point. I opened it. Waited. And there it was, her cloud storage. Synced by accident through our old iPad. Photos. Screenshots. Notes. And voicemails. Not from me. From him. A man who said her name like it was a prayer and a dare all at once. "You make me feel alive," he said in one. "He doesn't see you the way I do." I sat there, headphones in, coffee growing cold in my hand, listening to a stranger build a life out of my bricks. And I didn't break. I just started building something else. A plan. You don't need fire to burn something down. Sometimes all it takes is a little air and the right match. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I made breakfast like I always did. 2 eggs, toast, black coffee. She barely touched hers. Said she wasn't hungry. I nodded and folded the napkins anyway. While she checked her makeup in the bathroom mirror, I checked her calendar. She had a networking event that night. Women in Business. Mixer downtown. Which meant she'd be home late. Again. Perfect. That morning, I met with Don Merrick, a lawyer I'd worked with on a zoning deal years back. Quiet guy. Always wore the same navy blazer. He took one look at the folder I handed him, labeled House Projects, and whistled. You want revenge? He asked. I shook my head. I want freedom. And I want it clean. He flipped through the file, timestamps, photos, copies of hotel receipts, voice memos, sync texts. She messed up, he muttered. A lot. She got sloppy, I corrected. Because she thought I wasn't watching. We went through the prenup. Solid. Ironclad. There was a clause about infidelity. She'd lose claim to the house. No spousal support. I had forgotten about that. She had too. By the time I left his office, everything was in motion. Documents prepped. Timeline drafted. All that was left was delivery. That night, while she was out shaking hands and fake smiling at strangers, I prepped the living room. Printed the divorce packet. Set it on the kitchen island. Then I did something extra. Call it petty. I call it poetic. I queued up a video on the TV. A compilation, text, voice memos, hotel receipts, and one particularly flattering selfie of her mystery man shirtless in their hotel room mirror. Timestamped. Geotagged. Crystal clear. I poured a glass of wine, sat in her chair, and waited. She came home around 10:15. Keys jingling, heels clicking on the tile. When she turned the corner and saw me sitting there, she paused mid-step. Hey, she said slowly. You're up. I didn't say anything. She noticed the papers. The TV. The paused video screen behind me, frozen on a frame of her laughing in a hotel bed. The color drained from her face. Ben, she said, voice cracking for the first time in months. I took a sip of her wine. Don't worry, I said. It's all paused. I figured you'd want to watch it from the beginning. She reached for the remote. I picked it up and set it behind me. You lied, I said. Repeatedly. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Tried again. I didn't mean. That's the thing about intent. I cut in. It doesn't erase impact. She stepped back like I'd slapped her. I hadn't even raised my voice. I stood, slid the envelope across the island. Your copy. I already filed. She grabbed the edge of the counter like it was the only thing keeping her upright. Ben, please, can we talk? We're talking. I made a mistake. No, I said calmly. You made choices. She looked like she wanted to cry. But the tears didn't come. Maybe they weren't real. Maybe they were just part of the performance. She reached for me. I stepped back. You chose him. You chose lies. You chose to burn this house down and hoped I wouldn't smell the smoke. I left the wine glass on the counter, grabbed my jacket, and walked out. No slam of the door. No dramatic exit. Just silence, the kind that means it's over. The morning after I left, I woke up in my brother's guest room. The air smelled like old books and sawdust. He was already at work, left a note on the counter that just said, "Coffee's on. Proud of you." I sat at the kitchen table and drank it black, staring out the window like I expected the horizon to give me some kind of answer. It didn't. She called 5 times that day. No voicemail. Just 5 missed calls. Like she thought the silence was a glitch. It wasn't. The 6th time, she left a message. Ben, I don't know what to say. I know I messed up. Please. Just call me. I didn't. Because here's the thing about rebuilding. You can't start pouring concrete until you've cleared the wreckage. And I was still standing in the ruins of what I thought was a life. I stayed off social media. Didn't tell friends. Didn't post anything cryptic or poetic or angry. No announcements. No sides. Just quiet. That night I drove by the house. The lights were on in the kitchen. Her shadow moved past the blinds. She was pacing. Probably calling someone. Or maybe no one was picking up anymore. That made me feel, not happy. Not vindicated. Just done. By the 3rd day, her tone had shifted. I know you're hurt. But can we at least talk like adults? You're being cold, Ben. Cold. No. I was just done setting myself on fire to keep someone else warm. I changed my number the next day. Closed the shared accounts. Moved the rest of my stuff to storage. Started going back to the gym. Booked a week in the mountains. Nothing dramatic. Just time to think, away from the noise. Or what used to pass for love. And somewhere between hike number 3 and falling asleep to silence, I realized. I wasn't sad anymore. I missed the idea of her, the version I built in my head. But the woman in the hallway with lipstick, lies, and perfume from someone else's night? She was never mine. Not really. And you know what else? I started sleeping better. Because the other side of the bed was finally empty. But at least now, it was honest. 3 months later, I woke up to the sound of birds instead of her curling iron. No beeping phone. No fake laughter through the bathroom door. Just morning, plain and clean. The house I moved into isn't fancy. It's a rental with creaky floors and one of those fridges that hums like it's about to die. But it's mine. Every uneven shelf. Every squeaky step. I filled the place with second-hand furniture, a coffee maker that actually works, and a dog I named Murphy, a mutt with trust issues and a nose for liars. We get along fine. Her last text came a month ago. Something short. I'm sorry. I didn't know how lost I was. I didn't respond. Not out of spite. Not because I hated her. I just didn't care anymore. That's the thing about betrayal. It feels like a house fire when it happens. You think you'll never rebuild. You think you'll live in the smoke forever. But then, one morning, you notice you're breathing normally again. You go to the store and realize no one's tracking your location. You come home and don't brace for the cold shoulder. You laugh out loud at a show, not because you're trying to prove something, but because it's actually funny. I ran into Eli last week, the guy who helped me gather the evidence. We grabbed a beer. He raised his glass and said, "So, what's next?" And I said, "I think I'm gonna build something again." He grinned. "A business?" "A life. There's no dramatic ending here. No slow-motion walk into the sunset. Just a man who thought he had everything, lost it, and found something better on the other side. Himself.